Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to each one of you present out here. I, Ms. Shravani Shalit Doshi, will be your host for today's event organized by IEEE. IEEE is the world's largest technical organization dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity with over 4 million members. IEEE creates an environment where members collaborate on world changing technologies from computing and sustainable energy systems to aerospace, communications, robotics, healthcare, and many more. IEEE also includes a global network of IEEE members and volunteers dedicated to promoting women engineers and scientists and inspiring girls around the world to follow their academic interest in a career in engineering and science. IEEE was rated one of America's best mid-sized employer in Forbes in 2018. IEEE has been certified as a great place to work. IEEE received the When Work Works Award in 2016. IEEE is a trusted voice for engineering, computing, and technology information around the globe. IEEE VIT comes under the Bombay section. We are dedicated to conducting events matching the interest of students from governments. Adding to our accomplishments, IEEE VIT captured the IEEE Regional Exemplary Student Branch Award in the year 2020. We have two of our most decorated events, our flagship events, IRIS and Voyager. We also conduct many such great events, which includes competitions, seminars, IEEE Day, and all of these are celebrated with great enthusiasm at IEEE VIT. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are honored to welcome our speaker for today, who is a proven IT professional with an experience of 9 plus years in software development and of 6 plus years project implementation and is currently working as a lead data scientist, machine learning and deep learning developer. When we think of data science and machine learning, the first platform we refer to is YouTube. And the very first person that comes to our mind is Mr. Krishnak. He completed his BTech in computer science from College of Engineering and was lucky enough to be placed in a company initially, starting his career as a .NET developer. He worked as a lead data scientist, pioneering in machine learning, deep learning, and computer machine. He is also an artificial intelligence practitioner, an educator, and a beloved mentor. He loves teaching and sharing knowledge with everyone. He aspires to give back to the community he has learned so much from and to improve quality of education by providing knowledge as much as he can. So, without any further ado, I would love to hear you from Krista. The platform is all yours. Thanks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you for introducing myself. Thanks a lot. And first of all, I'm extremely sorry, guys. I'm just delayed by 30 minutes because I was just for a medical emergency outside. Anyhow, I ran back as soon as possible I could. But again, thank you for this amazing introduction. So let's proceed, and I'll just try to share my screen now, and probably just give me a quick confirmation if you're able to see my screen, guys.
Yes, sir, it's visible.
So I hope everybody can see this complete roadmap towards data scientist in 2021. I hope. Yeah. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
perfect.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, guys. So let's begin. And again, let's do one thing. Um, let's focus on today's session again. Complete roadmap towards data scientist in 2021. And before I proceed, I'm just going to introduce you about myself. My name is Krish Nayak. I hope everybody has seen me in YouTube channel. Right now, I'm the co-founder of iNeuron.ai. It is a product-based company. Along with, we also focus in teaching AI, machine learning, deep learning, and all the tech stacks that are available in IT industry. Apart from that, I'm an educator. Apart from that, I also have somewhere around 10 plus years of experience in IT industry. I finished my colleges in 2011, and from then I'm actually been working in this. And recently, like 2 years back, I started my own company called as iNeuron, right? So in this video, we're just going to understand the complete roadmap towards data scientist in 2021. We are just going to remove all the terminologies because many people have different kind of confusion regarding what should be the roadmap towards data science in 2021, and what are things we really need to know before we are industrial ready, right? We are ready to work in the industry as soon as possible. So let's begin. So first of all, to begin with, what will be the entire agenda. We're going to understand who's the data scientist, the life cycle of a data science project, the work of data scientists, the roadmap discussion. So this is the main agenda that we are going to cover over here. And let's start with like what, because you may have heard a lot of terminology, right? Like AI, data science, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, NLP. There's so many things, and probably you've met with people who will be saying that, okay, I am an NLP engineer, probably I am this, I am that. So this kind of things you may have definitely heard of. So let's get through this, and let's probably just understand that, okay, we are staying in a universe. Now suppose if I am in the field of data science, the entire universe is basically called as AI. Okay, AI, artificial intelligence. The entire universe, if I really want to think of, it is called as artificial intelligence. And if you really want to know what is artificial intelligence, it's just understand that this is the final goal. The final goal wherein probably you are creating some machines, you're creating some applications which are able to do its own task without any human intervention. Some of the example are Netflix, self-driving cars, you know, recommendation systems in Amazon.in website, you know, Google Siri, right? So Google Voice, Siri, right? Amazon Echo, different applications. They are able to do their own task without any human intervention, right? So AI, always remember, is the final goal. Whether you are working in data science, whether you're working in machine learning, whether you're working in deep learning, whether you're working in computer vision, the final goal is basically to create an AI application. Okay. So again, you work in any field, right? At the end of the day, you are creating an AI application. So you'll be seeing some of the job titles like AI engineers also, right? So internally, some or the other way, they may be using machine learning, data science, deep learning, anything as such. So let's go to the second one. Second one, okay, within the universe, there is a planet. Let's consider that there is a planet, and this planet is called as ML, that is machine learning. Okay. So if you really want to know about machine learning is a subset of AI. And if you really want to define machine learning, it is nothing but it just provide you some amazing stats tools to analyze the data, to visualize the data, to explore the data, to do time series forecasting, to do prediction, to do different kind of things like classification or regression problem, right? So what it actually provides you, it provides you some kind of stats too. Okay, so from that you'll be able to analyze, visualize, explore, do forecast, do prediction, do a lot of activities, and that is what is basically ML, right? So ML is nothing but it is a subset of AI. Okay, now let's imagine that, okay, there is another one more planet, and again it is present within our Earth. Just consider that this is just like a moon that is rotating around the Earth. So if you really want to understand what is deep learning is a subset of machine learning. And again, the deep learning main aim is to basically create neural networks, and these neural networks will try to mimic human brain. So in 1950s, scientists thought, can we make the machine learn like how we human beings learn? And that is where deep learning has actually come into existence. Okay, so here what we do, we actually create a lot of deep neural networks which will be able to perform like how we human being train ourselves. You've seen kid, as he or she grows, they'll be learning new languages, they'll be learning many things from the environment, right? So finally, you have understood about AI, you have understood about ML, you have understood about DL, but still, we did not get to know what is data science, right? So over here, as a data scientist, suppose if you are preparing for data science, we are learning data science. The end goal is basically to, you can see over here, data science, it is a part of everything, right? So if you really want to understand data scientists will be using techniques like machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, and always understand the end goal will always be to create an AI application. So it will be using techniques from all these things to actually create an AI application. So this is the most important thing that we can actually come out from this particular thing, right? So over here, data scientist. So tomorrow, if you are getting a job as a data scientist position, and if someone gives you a computer vision work, NLP work, see NLP can be a part. NLP basically means natural language processing. It can be a part of machine learning. It can be a part of deep learning. So I'm not creating a separate things for that. It is a technique that can be applied in machine learning and deep learning, right? So over here, if your main aim is to become a data scientist, understand if tomorrow someone gives you a task with respect to computer vision, with respect to deep learning, you just have to do it. You cannot say that I'm a data scientist, I only do machine learning kind of activities. No. As a data scientist, you really need to do everything, right? So that is the reason why most of the data scientists are paid some good amount of money. Okay. Now, what is the work of data scientist? So let's begin with, first of all, you see that whenever there is a data science project, the first step is basically to have a requirement gathering. Okay, this requirement gathering is usually done by two people. One is the domain or product owner, and the second person is business analyst. So if you have seen business analyst, what they do actually requirement gathering. They jot down all the requirements. They make all the note of the requirement. They use some tools like Jira, Confluence, different kind of tools like Trello board and all. So if you don't know about this, you can just go and search for it. These are some amazing tools for doing the project management. Okay, so the domain expertise along with the product owner and the business analyst, what they'll do, they'll have a discussion and they'll start jotting down all the requirements that is required for that particular project. Then that entire requirements are actually sent to the analytics teams, which involves data analyst and data scientist. And then this data scientist and data analyst will further do the discussion along with domain expertise and product owner. And they will try to finalize from where they should take the data. Because for data science projects to begin, they really require a lot of data. And they really need to know that from where they should take the data. Who will be making the decision making? Over here, the domain expertise and product owner, along with data analyst or a data scientist. So, and when I say data analyst or data scientist, just imagine that okay, the analytics team is basically sitting and trying to identify what all data they are going to use. Okay, so after the discussion is done, data may be available in the internal database, or they may be also available from third-party cloud APIs. Then this data is entirely combined and taken and given to the big data engineering team. Now, big data engineering team, what they do is that they actually define the entire architecture of the database, data lake, and they start taking this, like whether it may be a live stream data, whether they have to store it for 2 months, 3 months, they will do all the decision making. And then, this particular data will then be given into the life cycle of a data science project. Okay, so I hope everybody is understanding, and I hope you are able to understand, because this PPT, if I make if before also when I use this particular PPTs, it's pretty much simple, clear, so that I think everybody will be able to understand. Now let's go to the next step. Now we are into the life cycle of a data science project. Data has been captured, it has been stored in the database. Now it has been sent to the life cycle of a data science project. Now, in the life cycle of a data science project, the first step, because now the first step which data scientist specifically does is feature engineering. Now you may be confused what all activities we do in the feature engineering thing. Over here, you'll be seeing that we will be doing steps like feature engineering. In here, we'll be doing something like EDA, that is exploratory data analysis. Then we handle the missing values. We handle outliers. Then we have categorical encoding. Then we have normalization, and then we have standardization. Right. So all these things are there. I hope everybody is able to understand. Okay. Then the next step is basically feature selection. In the feature selection, you have steps like correlation, forward elimination, backward elimination, univariate selection, random forest importance, feature selection with decision tree. Now, Why this feature selection is important? Because not all the features are important in a specific data set. It may not be necessary that you have to consider all the features while doing this kind of work, right? You just can consider some of the features. That is up to you, right? So in feature selection, you will be considering some of the features. Not all the features are required. To identify those, we use this particular process of feature selection. Coming to the third part, that is model creation and hyperparameter tuning. In model creation, we use techniques like grid search CV, randomized search CV. Um, this hyperparameter tuning is very much important. We tune the model so that the model gives us very good accuracy. So here are some of the techniques like Keras tuner, Bayesian optimization, HyperOp, genetics algorithm, and Optuna, right? Then coming to the next step, that is Dockerization. Because once your model is ready, you really need to know the techniques of doing the deployment. And right now, Kubernetes and Docker's containerization process that we actually use along with the CI/CD pipeline is done by this. Okay, we take that, we do the model deployment in various clouds like AWS, Azure, Heroku, Google Cloud Platform, and final step is basically doing the model monitoring and retraining. So after the model is basically deployed, we basically also set up a retraining environment so that whenever the model accuracy is going down, we can definitely use it. Okay. So till here, I hope everybody has understood and you're able to understand all these things. The work of a data scientist, I've already told you, roadmap to become the data scientist. Now, let's go ahead and understand the roadmap. I've told you what work the data scientists do. So first roadmap, we really need to understand about the programming languages, then mathematics, what all things we really need to know, then statistics, then databases, then machine learning, then deep learning, and natural language processing. Then finally, we really need to know some of the cloud platforms. So all these things, we'll be trying to see that what all programming languages are important, what all mathematics concepts will be important. And all. So coming to the first programming language, obviously you can go with Python or R. I'm not saying that you cannot go with Java programming language, but right now Python and R will be more than sufficient to suffice all the work with respect to this. If you want to tell me, so Krish, what will be your personal choice, I say just go with Python because it has huge applications with respect to deep learning and all. And whatever research are right now going in colleges, in amazing colleges, trust me, just go with Python. The Python is an easy programming language. Second thing is maths for data science. In maths for data science, there are three important things. One is calculus, linear algebra, and statistics. If you want to get started with all these things, I have already uploaded all this particular video in a specific playlist in my YouTube channel also. Okay. Then in statistics specifically, see, this is fine. Calculus and linear algebra, I think you will be seeing vectors, scalars, you'll be seeing various concepts. But if I go with respect to statistics, in statistics, two different things are there. One is basic stats and advanced stats. In basic stats, these are some of the terminologies that are there, like introduction to basic term variable, random variable, population sample mean. This all videos have been uploaded in these two playlists, that is statistics and machine and feature engineering. These are the two playlists that I have actually created. It has millions and millions of views, guys. You will definitely be able to learn a lot of things. Okay. So this is with respect to basic. There are some more advanced concepts that I've written like QQ-plot, Sheridan inequality, discrete and continuous distribution, Bernoullian binomial distribution, log normal, power law, box cost transform, and that. So again, you can again follow my statistics. And these all are something important so that when you're working with machine learning, the maths concepts related to statistics, the data, how it is distributed, you'll be able to understand. Okay. Now coming to the next one, that is databases. So in databases, you can actually use NoSQL and SQL databases. The most important database is Cassandra, MongoDB, Microsoft SQL Server, Amazon S3, Google BigTable, Hadoop, MySQL, Elasticsearch, and Hive. Now, if you say, Krish, at least two databases tell us, you can go ahead with MySQL and MongoDB, right? It will be more than sufficient for you to start with. And again, for MySQL and MongoDB, I have also created a separate playlist in my YouTube channel. Now, if I go with respect to machine learning roadmap, I've already told you in the previous session, like how machine learning roadmap will be. There will be something like supervised and unsupervised machine learning. There are seven to eight machine learning algorithms. If you know that, that'll be more than sufficient. But always remember the focus should be to create an end-to-end project with the entire life cycle of the data science project. I did not discuss much about deep learning, so I've created this particular slide for deep learning. If you are really preparing for deep learning, the order that you should basically follow is from left to top, right? From left corner to top. So first of all, you need to finish this introduction to neural network, loss function, optimizers, gradient descent, SGD, ADAGRAD, RMS prop, ADAM optimizer. Then you have artificial neural network. Then you have deployment projects. Then you go ahead with new convolution neural networks, transfer learning, object detection, RCNN, deployment projects again. Then again, you start with RNN, LSTM, word embeddings, word2vec, encoder and decoder, transformers, BERT, and Hugging Face. Again, I'm telling you guys, you do not learn these advanced things also. If you just cover the basic till this particular level, it is more than sufficient to get the job. This base needs to be covered in a very good way. If this base is covered in a very good way, I think we will never have any problems while learning or getting job with respect to deep learning. Okay. And over here, some of the libraries that you will be using is PyTorch, Keras, TensorFlow, K-Train, and NLP. All these kind of libraries you can actually use. Now, many people have also told me, Krish, please make a separate roadmap to prepare for NLP. So here is the entire roadmap: introduction to neural network, loss function optimizer. Again, this is the same thing, but this all things as you go ahead, if you really want to just work in NLP, you really need to follow this particular steps. That is from bottom to top. You have to learn in this specific manner. Okay, so here are some of the things like artificial neural network, recurrent neural network, word embeddings, word2vec, LSTM, RNN, decoders, attention models, transformers, and BERT. So all these things are basically there. Perfect. So let's now get towards the libraries and tools that probably you'll be using mostly when you're learning data science. So here you have like NumPy, Pandas, Seaborn, SkyPy, Matplotlib, Plotly, and Dask. I think you've seen all these kind of libraries. These libraries are pretty much amazing because they are open source libraries. Okay, so definitely you'll be able to learn a lot from it. Right now, millions and millions of people are using this, for different purposes. NumPy is very fast. Pandas is a little bit slow, but yes, it provides. It is see Pandas. If I talk about, right, it is a library, and the data structures that is involved in Pandas is something called as data frames. So you will be able to do a lot of tasks with respect to whatever data that you have. Okay. Similarly, if you want to go with R programming language, these are some of the tools like data manipulation in R, data visualization in R. We use ggplot2. Features of Tableau 2 are used for data wrangling. We have something called as Lubridate. Dynamic remote generation, you have two, that is Knitter and Shiny. So different things you have with respect to libraries also. Business intelligence tool. Suppose if you are interested in drawing some amazing reports, you can definitely use Tableau and Power BI. And for this kind of role, basically goes for data analyst. A data scientist need not learn this because they will be having programming knowledge, and with the help of the other libraries, they'll be able to create some amazing reports. So these are some of the business intelligence tools like Tableau, Power BI, QuickView, and all. There is also something called as Dundal BA. So these are some business intelligence tools which will help you to draw some amazing diagrams. These are some of the example of reports. One is Tableau reports and Power BI reports. The cloud platforms over here are Microsoft Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud Platform, which we basically use. And if you know till here, probably you may have covered everything that is required to get switched into data science. Okay. And this was just a small introduction. Again, I'm telling you guys, if you just follow my machine learning, deep learning playlist, everything that I've taught about, right? Everything is available with respect to data science in my YouTube channel. Okay. You can just follow this. This is the entire roadmap, what you really need to know so that you will be able to prepare it for in a better way. Right. So this is what you need to do. Anybody who has any specific questions can ask me in the chat, and probably I'll be able to guide you through this. Okay. So yes, this was it from my side with respect to showing you the entire roadmap for a data scientist in 2020. Please, if you have any question, let me know. Okay, one question I have: what should I know for MLOps? So for MLOps, there are some of the libraries like DVC, MLflow, and all. Probably you really need to know that. It will actually help you to create a CI/CD pipelines. After Docker and Kubernetes, what's next? You really need to do the deployment, create CI/CD pipeline, and all. Simple roadmap of MLOps. Important again, I'm telling you, for MLOps, there are some amazing libraries like, as I said, DVC. They are MLflow, which will actually help you to create the CI/CD pipeline and all. Okay. How often do you use web scraping? See, web scraping is in this particular part. Okay. So while you are actually gathering the data, you may use web scraping techniques and probably also gather the data. But in web scraping also, you really need to understand with respect to legality. Okay. You cannot just scrap any kind of data from the internet and use it. So it is better that you always go from third-party APIs, which will obviously be paid, right? Any more questions? Can you shed some light on ETL pipelines? So ETL pipelines are basically used with respect to, you can just consider in this two ways. One is in the life cycle of a data science project, this entire process from big data engineering to that, you will be able to create step-by-step process for pre-processing the data set, right? At that time, you can actually use it. Again, there are various tools for doing that too. Okay. What level of maths is required for data science, more particularly calculus? So if you are from CBSE board for till 12th standard, I think you will be able to do this easily. How difficult is it to crack a data science related interview? In my entire career, I've just failed one time in my data science interview. Otherwise, I've cracked everything. Our students from iNeuron, in just a span of past 6 months, more than 3,000 plus people have got placed. I'm not just talking about experienced people. I'm also talking about freshers. Okay. Yes. Next question, please. Anything that you have? Let me just show you my face so that you'll be able to see this. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, any more questions? Should we aim for MNCs or startups? Nowadays, I suggest that startups are also good, MNCs are also good. In startups, will be able to earn more. Startups nowadays has good funding from various companies. So whichever you get, I would suggest go for it. What package would a data scientist generally get? See, an average 4 to 6 lakhs for a fresher. What is the key difference between data scientist and data analyst? See, data analyst cannot do the work of data scientist, but a data scientist can do the work of data analyst. So if I consider over here, data analyst can do work till feature engineering only, whereas a data scientist can complete everything like feature selection, model creation. Playlist from your YouTube channel for beginner in data science field. Okay, let me show you that too, so that you will also be able to see it. Just a second. Just a second, guys. Okay. Um, so let me just share my screen so that you will be able to see this. Okay, so here are different playlists. If you want to build Android apps using this, If you want to build review resumes, I've reviewed resume, interview question playlist, SQL interview playlist. Then I've created playlists on Django, Flask, ML use cases. Everything are there. Transformer, BERT implementation, NVIDIA Rapids, EDA. Here is complete Python playlist, cloud computing, TensorFlow object detection, ML ops, right? So all these things are there. You can see, check out all these things, deployment architecture, AWS SageMaker, PyTorch, Tableau, competitive programming, complete big data, MongoDB with Python. Everything has been uploaded, guys. You can actually go and see complete deep learning. All these playlists are there. Just search for Krish Nayak and you'll be able to check out in this specific playlist. Okay. Uh, can you give some how to handle missing data? There are various ways to handle missing data. It depends on the type of data set. It depends on how the data is basically distributed. Okay. I'm good in machine learning and deep learning, except deployment. I'm learning it currently. So I want to ask, should I go for machine? You can go for both. See, both are required nowadays. It's not like only one thing is basically required. Both are required. What kind of certification in ML and DL helped me to grow? See, don't focus much on certification. In companies also, they'll not much focus on. They will focus on your technical skills. Don't waste your money in certification, unnecessary certification. I've seen there is a lot of craze regarding certification. Please don't do that. It will be of no use. Instead, you'll just be wasting your energy for gaining that particular certification. Okay. So forget about certification. Can you give some tips for things we should mention in CV? Make sure that you try to showcase all the things which will actually showcase your technical skills. Okay. GitHub link will be there. Suppose if you're very good at it, probably have given a seminar, webinar, put that particular video. Try to participate in the open source community. Try to do all those things. Okay. Any value added exam on Python? I don't think so. Any that'll be just focus on doing more end-to-end projects. That's it. Yeah. Perfect. So yeah, I think I've taken all the questions. Future NLP is going to be really, really amazing. A lot of research are actually going on. Bigger companies are doing a lot of research over them. Probably they'll be doing some amazing work as we go ahead. That is also good. Can you shed some light in masters in data science? MS, if you want to do masters in data science, before doing master, I'd suggest try to work for at least 1 year and try to see whether data science is good for you or not. Okay, and definitely go for it if you really want to do it from a good college. Okay, not necessarily like you're doing from long distance education and all. No. Can you shed some light on what other things are required to become a data engineer? See, big data engineer has a different kind of syllabus itself altogether. There's PySpark, there is different things and all, right? Courses, again, I'm telling guys, don't go with high costly courses. You know, utilize your money efficiently. If you are a very intelligent guy, if you just follow my machine learning playlist, you will be able to clear the interview. Okay. Power BI and Tableau has both importance. They have their own clients. It depends on the companies which they use. I've used both Power BI and Tableau. In one of the company, I use Tableau. In one of the company, I use Power BI. Can you suggest some colleges for master program in data science? There are many colleges. Again, I'm suggesting that try to target the best college. Okay. Which topic should we learn in linear algebra? There are a lot of things: matrices, vectors, scalar, operation in vectors. There are a lot of things which you really need to focus on. Okay. Okay, guys. So yes, this was it. Uh, I think you can continue. If you have any questions, I'll have a look onto that. So back to you, moderator. Thank you.
Sir,
Yes, please. You can continue with this.
so there are some more questions in the chat.
Okay. Okay, please share your journey, how you became a data scientist. So I was a .NET developer, guys, and I did one project in .NET, which later became an AI application. So I really got interested into that, and internally I started learning data science. And probably in just 3 months, I just initially learned machine learning and made a switch. So that is in short. And then I love this technology so much that I started working in there. So right now I have somewhere around 7+ years in this industry with respect to data science. Yeah, I think I've answered all the questions. Yes, please. You can. Yeah, it is self-learned. Self-learned basically means I had to. I used to struggle a lot for materials and all the other things. In that specific way, I spent a lot of time in that itself. That is the reason why I started my YouTube channel, so that people who wants to learn, they can learn in an efficient manner. Where do you learn the constantly new rising topics from? A lot of things are there. There is a research paper and all are there, right? So you just need to keep on exploring things in that. For ETL jobs, are cron jobs using Python script on a Flask server enough for production? Yeah, it depends. Also, if an application is very small, then definitely you can use Flask. Otherwise, you can go with Django. What is the difference between big data and data science? Big data involves storing huge data efficiently so that you can use that specific data to some pipeline. Okay, data science is mostly to analyze that particular data and do a lot of things. YouTube will hinder full-time work. So when till now, when I started YouTube channel, till I was working to Panasonic, I used to tell those people initially, so okay, I'm running a YouTube channel. This is specifically for learning. So my company people did not say anything, but yes, there are some companies who will definitely have problems with this. Okay, Streamlit or Flask, I'd suggest go with Flask instead of Streamlit. One more question: GCP or AWS? See, both the things are good, but again, you cannot just decide like that. Okay, it depends on organization to organization. Okay, organization to organization.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for your fascinating talk. I'm already a big fan of your channel, and I would request everyone to check it out too. It's amazing. Now we would be. Now I request our chairperson, Ms. Shefali Bala, to present the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Shravani. Thank you so much, sir, for taking out your time from your busy schedule to enlighten us with your words of wisdom. I'm sure that the knowledge that you have shared with us today will be instrumental in our journey to become great data scientists in the future. So thank you. I, on the behalf of our committee, IEEE VIT, thank the entire audience for attending the webinar and hope that this experience has benefited you all. An event like this cannot happen overnight. The wheels start rolling weeks ago. We are fortunate to have dedicated student volunteers that work tirelessly so that IEEE VIT can bring in more events like these. Lastly, I would request the audience to please fill up the feedback forms so that we can dispatch your certificates as soon as possible. And we would be very happy to hear any suggestions that come in. So please write them down. With this, thank you once again and have a great day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.